Hello, I'm Jo Swan, the educational gardener from Bulwell Forest Garden, and hopefully if you're watching this it's because you have built your own wormery at one of our workshops, and this is just going to be a little instructional video on how to manage your wormeries. So hopefully you've got a box, not exactly like this, yours are a bit different, and you've drilled holes in it so that the worms can breathe, and so we've got drainage at the base of it. So you should have in it, we should provide you some housing material. So this is just some partially rotted leaf mould. There'll be some worms in here already. So that's in the base. And so the worms will go in here to eat their food. It's kind of like almost like an animal bedding for them. So that's in our base. So the worms, so I've done this here to show you how in future to harvest your compost. And this isn't quite ready, it's from one of our worm bins, but I wanted to harvest the worms so that you could have them in your bins. So I've put them on a sheet of plastic, and the thing to note is that worms don't like light, so they like it nice and dark. So if you put them into the light, they'll try and find a dark place. So I've got a little wet piece of spread the compost out, and then I've got a wet piece of newspaper in the middle, and hopefully they will be, yeah, so you can see they've gone into the bottom of there. So if you did this with, if you wanted to take some of this compost when it was a bit more ready, this would be the process that you would do. So anyway, I'm going to get the worms. I'm going to spread them around into their housing, just gently. And remember that they're living creatures. So we've got lots of wrigglers there. So we've got like a colony. I don't know if it is a colony, if that's the name for it, but it's like a small number of worms which we're hoping to build up. So we'll get a lot more, and they do multiply quite quickly if you've got your conditions right, which is what we're going to talk about next. So I've spread them out around the bottom. So what we're going to look at next is feeding the worms. So what you should have with your boxes is a little caddy to keep in your kitchen, to keep your food scraps in. So this is mine from home. I'm not quite sure what's in it. We'll find out in a minute. So what I normally do, just a little kind of tip, is I put an egg box or a piece of cardboard in the bottom, and then when you put your food in, it makes it a bit easier to wash, and it soaks up some of the liquid. So right, let's have a look. Hope there's not too many flies in here. So they're just quite a handy size to keep in your kitchen. So let's have a look at what's in here. So, see, there's my egg box. So egg boxes and bits of cardboard are really good, but they're better if they're ripped up. And some cardboard, you might think it's cardboard, it can be plastic coated, so you need to try and avoid that. So the lovely contents. So we have a lot of eggs in our house. I've got greedy teenagers who eat 4 at a time. So what I normally do with the eggshells is crush them up. So the smaller you can make all this material, the quicker the worms can eat it. I've got some garlic there, which is not good. So what we don't put in a wormery, what we avoid, is anything of the onion family. So onion, garlic, leeks, and also citrus. It's too acidic for the worms. And also to avoid putting meat or fish in there. But you can put a little bit of cooked food in if you've got any waste. I mean, I don't have a lot, but I've got a bit of bread in here. It's only a little bit, it won't do any harm. And tea bags, the thing to remember with tea bags is that some of them are plastic. Some of them have got plastic in them, so I use PG Tips because they haven't got plastic in them. And there's lots of greens in here, which is good. I like them. And it's good to give them kind of, to have a nice mixture of things. So they've got kind of quite a varied diet. There's like, what else have I got? Bits of lettuce, banana skins. So what I don't always do this, but what you could do is, if you want your wormery to have quicker results and you want to get them off to a good start, just chop things up, rip things up quite small. So I'll just rip up that's just a pizza box. So that all looking kind of good to go. The thing is, we don't want to overfeed them to start with, because we need to build the colony up and we don't want the food to go like putrefied. So, get our woolly wormies. So I'm just going to put this on top of the, I think, one caddy should be okay, I think. I probably wouldn't add anything for probably a week or two after this, and just give them a chance to get active and start multiplying. Okay. So the conditions in here are really important as to the success of your wormery. So what I'm going to do is, they like it moist, but they don't want to be waterlogged, so that's why you've drilled holes in the base so that the moisture can get out, but they do like it moist in there. So what I do is I get a wet piece of cardboard and it makes it nice and dark, and it's an environment that they'll like in there. And then your lids are different than this. Put the lid back on and keep your lid on securely, and then you don't get any rats or anything getting into here. Okay, and then the other thing is, you've got a gravel tray. So if you get a couple of bricks or something like that, just to lift it off the base, and you can keep it there, and then the liquid will run into the gravel tray, and after a few months this brown liquid's really good, and you can harvest that as a liquid fertiliser, which you dilute and feed to plants, as well as being able to use the worm compost itself. So the other thing is where to position it. So I have heard that you can keep them indoors, but personally I don't think I would want one indoors. So they need to be in a sheltered place, but not in the sun. So if we look over here, these are our wormeries here at the garden. So we've got 4 different designs, and so I've put them here, so because they're sort of out of the sun here and they're quite sheltered from the wind. But then in the winter I would probably move them into the polytunnel, because you don't want extremes of hot and you don't want extremes of cold. But what you could do in winter is just cover them up with an old blanket, and that would suffice. So we've got a mixture of things in here. We have got a little bit of grass cuttings as well. So you could put a little bit of garden waste in. They like a lot of greenery, so I think most of these are lower down in the bedding. So it's good to not have it too compacted in there, to give it a little mix up so they're getting some air in there. So that's it. how to be a worm farmer. But I'm sure you'll all have like lots of questions. So we're going to have a Facebook group, Bulwell Forest Garden Wormeries, or something along that title. So if you've got any questions or you want to share any stories with us, then please get in touch with us via Facebook. Okay, thanks for watching and happy worm farming. Rubbish for your bin? Think again. This is what you could turn it into. Black gold, resulting in fewer carbon and methane emissions, also locking the carbon in the soil. It's a simple solution to a massive problem.